Hi, this is Adekyn with a Grand Ages Rome campaign mission video. This is part two of the two Quaestors. Part one, we built up our first community and started our second community down here on the coast. And I want to talk a little bit about fire. See the video dangerous opportunities for a discussion about fire and the happiness of people. If you, I basically in that one said, if your folks are happy, you won't have fires, and that's true. But there is one other way you can have a fire, and that is if you leave a building either unoccupied, in other words, unstaffed, or not able to produce, so it's lacking a good, like for example, a tailor shop needs flax, and if you didn't have flax production, your tailor shop would have a problem. And the problems here in the original Grand Ages Rome are indicated by buildings that are darkened, and in the expansion pack, there actually have flags over them that you can see that indicate the problems. But here you can see I'm building a second tavern. But what I've done and whatever I've messed up actually is that there's another tavern up in the first community that's been down and been darkened for a long time. As these buildings stay that way, they will begin to degrade because it means that they're either not producing correctly or no one's staffing them, so no one's maintaining them properly, and they degrade. And as they do, when they hit a certain point, they're going to catch on fire. And that's your other way of getting fires. I guess there's really three ways. You can be attacked and have a fire by the enemy attacking you. You can have unhappy people who become criminals, and criminals will set buildings on fire. And then you can have buildings that stay unoccupied or are not useful for too long, and they will catch on fire. So here I'm trying to fix the problem with this tavern that you can see, and it's missing, according to it, it's missing flour. So build this mill down here, and we're going to check the mill to make sure it works, and sure enough it has a problem, and you can see the red there indicating it's lacking wheat. So I go up and boost up my wheat production by upgrading the farm, and it takes care of that problem. But I still have a problem up here. This one's still not working. I've got enough wheat, I've got enough flour, I think. So what's the problem? So what I'm going to do first of all, is do something that you really want to do whenever you can, which is upgrade your butcher baker to be staffed by equites. That way they overproduce. That overproduction is needed to be used by inns and taverns. So we're building more housing, and we actually need to build one more house, but we'll see that in just a second. So building one more equite house, that'll end up staffing the prefecture. But then we're going to use the tabs at the top, the one for staffing for job employment basically, and use that employment tab to check our employment. So we hit that one there, and it shows green. All that green means those are employed, and we see that we don't have any equites houses that are unemployed. So we are going to go ahead and build one more. That'll staff that tavern, and finally that thing will be fixed and won't be a fire hazard anymore. And you can tell how bad they're getting by looking at that bar. If you click on it, you'll see the progress bar, but on an already built building, it'll actually just show how much it's degraded, and you can tell how bad it's getting. So anyway, that's enough about fire. You do need to manage fire. I think prefectures are great, but they're more for maintaining, but they're not necessarily to stop fires or even put out fires. And my main way to put out a fire, if I do happen to get one, is to demolish the building that catches on fire before it starts to spread, because prefectures frankly don't put out fires very well. They can put them out, but if you're down to managing, if your buildings are catching on fire pretty consistently and you're relying on prefectures, you are in deep trouble. You really need to try to prevent fires as your main goal as far as fire safety is concerned. So now we're going to move up and start building up that we're going to follow, as we said in the first one, follow the water. So we're going to move up and build another community up here to the north, if you will. And another critique of my gameplay on this one is that should have done this way into early in the mission, because there's a gold mine up here and we should have grabbed it. And there's another gold mine that you'll see eventually we'll capture with an outpost and a slave camp, and we should have grabbed that earlier too, because you want to get your economy going. And if the map gives you gold mines, that's the best source of money there is. Once you have it going, it's just free money, basically, and even, staffing them with slaves, you may not get as much production, but you can get that money going early. So we could have jumped up here with slaves and grabbed that gold, or we could have just built a second community right away, would be my recommendation, to build a second community to the north. And then if you wanted to build on the coast to pick up the sea trade, build that as your third or fourth community, right? Not your second one. So anyway, go follow your goal. Follow the water for where you're going to build. Follow the gold to tell you where you want to go early in the game to get your economy going. Because like all real-time strategy games that I've ever played, the key really early in the game is getting your economy going. So you need to take whatever path gets you most efficiently, get your economy going. And in this case, obviously a temple, but a temple makes you very little at the beginning. Trade is a great way to go early, and the simplest, easiest, best way to get money early in the game is if you have gold on the map, go get it. So there's a couple of critiques of my play. I left that tavern unoccupied or unuseful way too long, and I should have gone to get my gold earlier, but it worked out. We ended up with a gold mission and a nice build. And one thing I will say, I like the way this city turned out because it looks kind of random. And one thing I don't like about city builders in general is you tend to build these cities that look like cookie cutters that were, like cities were built by perfect architects who actually planned out every city street and every building, and I like them. I like it when they turn out looking a little random and haphazard, because to me that's more realistic. It looks like the way a city would really look. And in fact, I'm probably going to take one of these future missions on a video and just show you kind of different ways to build, rather than that Butcher Baker Inn Tavern Prefecture on every single one of them. It's just a different way to build, to just kind of spread a city out over a large space and make a big meandering city. But at any rate, still using these community blocks. The beautiful thing about the community blocks, these Butcher Baker Inn Tavern Prefecture or Temple kind of things, like you see right there, the beauty of that is once you get in that pattern, it's very easy to expand around the map and to keep in control. And it's especially useful if you have a goal of keeping your ratings up high, because if you want high ratings, you got to have those that influence from those buildings, like temples and food and entertainment and what have you. You've got to have multiple buildings hitting each of your houses. So to do that, you build these community blocks, and there's a video called Building a Large City that goes into that in a little more detail, but you've seen a good example of it here, because now we're getting ready to build a fourth community. The reason we're building this one is to go up and grab that marble up there you can see to the top of the screen, because now we're kind of at that, we're getting ready to enter that the patrician phase. So we need the marble to build the advanced buildings, and then you'll see us right at the end of this particular video, part 2. You'll see us start preparing for patricians by setting up our flax and olive oil farms, and then in our next one, which will be part 3, the final part of this particular mission, we'll start setting up the clothing and everything else we need for patricians. So, and here you can see we're starting to expand our farming, because we need more wheat, and we can't. We don't have available upgrade to our wheat farm right now, so we're just going to build another wheat farm, and we'll build another pig farm to give us more meat, more wheat to fuel our expanding city. So we're doing that, and we're also, as you can see, getting ready to build flax farms and olive farms and what have you, to get ready for our patricians. So that's going to kind of finish up this part 2. We'll finish off this mission in one more video, part 3, and in that one we'll just kind of finish things off, get that last gold mine, the outpost one, and that's another one I should have gotten. So now that kind of wraps up part 2. Hope this has been helpful. Hope you got something out of it. I hope you enjoy it.